It's tank resealing time. Now there's a few different ways of doing this. However, I'm going to show you sort of how I do it and what I'm looking for when I do it or why I reseal a tank. This tank was not leaking, but the whole idea is to catch it before it does. And since we were taking it out of service and going to move it around, it was a good time to look. So if you look here, do you see the air bubbles that's developing? If caught at this stage, when it really doesn't look all that bad and doesn't leak, we can prevent its leaking. I've already started cutting here a little bit. And now here's something that you don't see normally when all of the substrate is in there, is look what's happening to the silicone here. So it's lifting, it's turned colors. It's only a matter of time before this would be a leaky tank that nobody wants. And at this stage, we don't need to disassemble this aquarium. We merely need to cut out all of the silicone from the inside and reseal the inside of it. Structurally, it's still sound. And so you've got two different things that happen here. So I've removed the top trim to show you this. And that's one of the first steps we're going to do is remove the top trim. We cut out the inside silicone, and then between the glass, there is silicone that is really more of a glue. It's silicone, but it's used to glue the pieces together. It's the structure. It's what gives it structural integrity on a glass aquarium. And that is still good here. And the proof of that is it's never leaked or anything. We're approaching a failure point with this tank, but we have not got there yet. So all we need to do right now is cut out the inside seal. Just go to the glass, but leave the piece and don't disturb it between the two pieces of glass. We'll clean it well, re-silicone it, and off we go. And we're good again for a while. So, let's do that. How do we go about doing that? Well, here's all I use. Basic razor blades and my hands. However, the technique is somewhat important. And here's what the technique is. You see how the glass goes in this direction and then butts up against it in this direction? What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my blade in this way, and I'm going to go right up against that piece of glass and cut it out using that other piece of glass as my guide. Once I've done that, I'll cut in this direction simply up to where I've cut, being careful to only score up to that point, and that will allow this to be removed. Let's see what I'm talking about here. Okay, be careful that you don't cut yourself. Now it's important that you recognize the way that these tanks are put together so that then you know, and it's different with every brand. This is a Hagen tank. On a Hagen tank, this bottom glass is actually elevated. It's sitting up inside on the outer trim that's there, which means that the sides go down past the bottom. If you follow what I'm saying. So these sides go down past. The bottom is up inside. Now, the reason why that's important to know is so that you know which way to cut with your razor blade so that you're not cutting into that seal that's between the pieces of glass. So we make our primary cuts in this direction because it's a Hagen tank, and our secondary cut goes down and meets it in this direction. And what it gives us is this. And I'll keep on doing that and bring you back when I've got it all cut out. All right. Pro tip, by the way, when your blade gets like this, it's all chipped and getting dull, throw it out, get a new one. This is how accidents are going to happen. This is how it's not going to work for you. And if you don't have something to dispose of sharps in, wrap it with a piece of tape so that it's safe in the garbage for the garbage man to go grab the bag. He's not going to grab a blade and hurt himself. Okay. Okay, so at this point we've gone around and we've got it all cut out. And here is the carnage. Now what you will see when you do this is that you have some residual stuff left sitting around, and that's fine. Use up your razor blades and then go back with a nice new sharp one and cut as much of that off, and it'll come pretty easily as you can. Now at this point in time, I have seen other people tell me that they use chemical products such as acetone or alcohol or something like that to help them remove that residual that's there. I don't do that, and I'll tell you, if it will remove the residual silicone that is there, then it could also seep in and soften and damage the seal between the two pieces of glass. So that might be a good idea to use a chemical product like that that you could wash off and do if you were completely rebuilding a tank. But in the event that you're just resealing a tank such as we are here, then what I choose to do is get it as clean as I can with a razor blade, make sure that it's good and dry, and I wipe it all out and I vacuum it all out with a shop vac. And that's all I do. And that's all I do for preparation before I put the new silicone in there to reseal the tank. Okay, so we've gone around and we've cut out all of the seal from this tank here now, all the inner seal, and we've got it all cleaned up pretty good. I'll give you guys a look at it and show you what we're up to. And then we're gonna go ahead and apply a new layer of silicone to the inside of it. So you see all of the original seal between the two layers of glass. We've looked at it closely, and there's no air bubbles and there's no voids. It's a very good seal. This tank wasn't leaking. So it's almost a precautionary thing that we're redoing the inside. And what we've done is cut out everything from the inside and cleaned it very well. And now we're going to put a new one in there. Now there is a couple of different methods of doing this. People like to use tape. There are tools that you can buy and use that give it a nice rounded, pretty edge. And then an old-fashioned carpenter's method, which is kind of what I do, which is use that right there, your finger. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so just as important as what it is or what's in it is what's not in it. Now what's not in it is any type of mold inhibitor. So you're looking for a silicone that is 100% pure silicone that does not have any mold inhibitors in it. That will not be aquarium safe if it has mold inhibitors in it. The brand is really not that important. What's important is that it's Silicone 1. That's the product. Silicone 1 doesn't have any mold inhibitors in it, that it's a waterproof sealant. And if at all possible, read the label really carefully and you might find one that says that it's aquarium safe, and if it is, you're able to go ahead and use that product. Now, finding it in black kind of gets a little bit tricky. You might have to go to somebody that specifically makes a sealant for aquarium use. As far as trying to find it in your hardware store, it gets a little difficult as soon as you want something that is not clear. This I know is a safe product and it's what I use. All right, now I recognize this is a bit of a strange angle, but I'm hoping you can see this. I'm using clear right now, even though this was black, and I'm kind of doing that for demonstration purposes so that you'll be able to see the contrast between the two when I'm done. But here's the way that I do this. I do all around the bottom first, and then I come up what will be the outside edges. So I get a decent bead going, such as you see. I have the angle of the tip or cut is such that it comes out at about a 45, and then I put a nice bead of silicone directly into the corner, and I make sure that it spreads fairly evenly. Now, this isn't normally how I do it, but I'm going to show it to you this way anyway. I'll go all the way around the outside, then I come back and I make sure I get a good amount in the corner, and then I will come up the edge like such. And I do all of this before I touch any of it. Oh, there we go. Shaky camera, hold on. All right, hope you can see that. Then it's a finger. And that smooths it out. It gives it that round edge that you see. Piece of paper towel, wipe your finger off. Wet sponge over here, off camera. Wet finger again. And then I spread it out again, as just like that. Now on the bottom it doesn't matter all that much anyway, because most of the time we're gonna have some kind of substrate that's gonna cover it anyhow. So let's get a little bit closer look here. That's your final result. Let's go around the outside so you can see it. See why I did it to a different color? You can really see the difference, right? All right, I'm gonna do the rest of the tank and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so here we are now. We've got it all applied. We've smoothed it all out with a finger. Now don't be intimidated by doing this. And if it isn't perfect, then yes, you can tape it and you can buy tools to do this with. And it does make it nice, clean, sharp edges when you do that. But this works just as well. And it seals just as well. And it allows you to continue to use that old glass tank a little while longer. If you're not confident enough to try it yourself, then without a doubt there'll be somebody in your area that does it. But I'd really like to encourage you to try it yourself. Why not give it a whirl? Tube of silicone is really not that expensive. If you don't have a caulking gun to use on it, that's not expensive either. You can buy them in individual tubes to use as well, and give it a try. And you might be surprised at yourself, and you'll feel really good about having done it yourself. All right, thanks for watching.